welcome to Vlogmas for 2023. I'm so happy to have you here with me on the Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina Pike, if you guys don't know me, and we're going to be talking about knitting, maybe some about crochet, and we're going to be talking a lot about yarn and stitch markers, and talking about advent knitting, scrappy knitting. For the month of December, I love to work on advent projects. I love to do projects that involve many skeins of yarn. So I'm setting aside all of my works in progress right now, and I'm going to be focusing on some brand new projects that will be starting. A lot of them are starting actually today. So I'm not going to have a lot of things to show you that I have started, but I'm going to be talking about the projects that I'm going to be knitting during this month. So that's one thing we're going to talk about today, is all the advent projects I hope to make. Now, I know I have a very long list. I know I won't be able to make all of them, but I'm going to give it a go, and we'll just see how many I can work into my daily schedule in addition to doing Vlogmas. Now, if you're curious as to what I'm going to be doing for Vlogmas, I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently than most people. Most people film every day. During the month of December, I'm only going to be doing one vlog a week. I do have daily videos showing the opening of my advents, but I have a video, I'll link it down below. You can go watch it. It explains everything. I don't want to re-say everything that I've already said and bore the people who have watched it to tears. So let's get started today. The other thing I'm going to be talking about today is I'm going to be talking about my yarn room. As you can see, my background is a lot different than it has ever been. We are filming the very first film in my yarn room, my knitting room. And when my husband and I bought this house quite a few years ago, this was a dream of mine to have a room like this where I could have all of my yarn in one place and I could easily see it, and it's all organized. And for my birthday earlier this year, he bought me all of these beautiful shelves, and we just finished putting it together a few weeks ago, and I was able to organize it all, and I'm going to be sharing that with you today. I can't wait to do that as well. And then I'm also, since I don't have any knitting to show you that I've casted on, since I didn't really plan that very well. Today is December the 1st, and a lot of projects are starting today. You will see this video tomorrow on the 2nd. I have to film the day before so I can edit it and all that stuff. So all my projects are coming out today, well, most of them. And so I have printed patterns to work on, but I will be showing you the yarns. But then I also have, since my last video was in May, and I was gone over the summer and just started coming back a couple of weeks ago. And this past week I did one of my first videos I've done in quite a few months, since May. I have about 6 projects that I've finished back in May and June that you guys have not seen, the finished projects. So I'm going to be sharing 4 of those with you today, and then I'm going to save 2 of them for next vlog, next week. It'll be on, my next vlog will be on Saturday. All my vlogs for the month of December, there'll be 4, will be on Saturdays, the Saturdays before Christmas. That's new. We're going to get street noise because this side of the house is on the side close to the busy street. I hope it's not too annoying, and I hope it's not really loud. But if it is, I'll try to edit it out. Let's go with that. So today, let's just start with the yarn room reveal, since that is the biggest thing, one of the biggest things I have new to talk about here. We were organizing all of this, I made a bunch of clips. I used to have a bunch of stuff on the floor in here. I didn't have all these shelves. I had just a few shelves, and they were stuffed full. And I had a few shelves in my closet that you'll see. But I made some clips of the process. So I'm just going to put that together, and then I will come back after we take a look at all of that. Okay, all of this stuff came out of my yarn room. It's on our pool table. That's some Christmas stuff, but that's all got to go back into my yarn room. This right here are all the shelves that my husband bought me to build to go into my yarn room. And right here is my yarn room. As you can see, a lot of that stuff was right in here. It was blocking this treadmill. So we're We're going to be moving that treadmill out into that den area. I've got books to go on a bookshelf here. These boxes here are garage sale stuff, so that's all coming out. And you can see I got my yarn stuff to organize and books. It's all a mess. And then build the shelves and put all this stuff back in there as well in an organized fashion. So that's the plan. So we have a plan. It's coming together and we're going to get it done. Now you can see my yarn room and see how big it is. We got those 2 shelves built, and I got all my patterns and magazines stuck in those things, and still have a little bit of room right there. I'm going to have a small desk right here for my computer and microphone and light and all that, because I have bad light in here. That's one bad thing. In the afternoon I'll have good light because I have a window back behind there, but I am kind of blocking it right now. Those are just temporary. All this stuff right here, those blocking mats and those boxes that have been used for shelves are coming off of it, so it'll just be that high. These 2 things right here are high. All this will be stored somewhere else. And then of course this shelf over here fit in really nicely. So what's left to build is a big 5x5 shelf that's going to go right here on this wall, and then another 5x5 shelf to go on this wall right here, and then my chair will be up against this wall. This is my chair that I've had in here. And then I've got this closet back here that's full of yarn, and it's got shelves in that, and I'll be using that again. And then I got this cute little shelf that's always been up there that I've never put anything on, but I'm thinking I could put some very light things up there. So maybe some of the things that people have sent me will be cute hanging out up there. So that's my yarn room coming together. It's looking much better, but anyway, you can see how it's all coming together. And of course all those yarns right there will be pulled out and organized in a better fashion. They're just stuck in there haphazardly right now. And then this stuff was magazines, but also I was able to get my paper patterns that I've printed and made throughout the years stuffed in these magazine things too. I had a whole bunch of those, and I had extra ones of these little magazine things. Was able to stick them in there and organize that a lot better. So it worked out really well. I had exactly enough of those. God worked that out perfectly, and he worked it out perfectly too, because I kind of eyeballed this, and this all fit together perfectly. So there we go. That's the start of it. And here we go tomorrow and the rest of the weekend to build this so we can start working on the Christmas lights.
Dance, dance, now this Christmas, we're gonna dance. We're gonna dance, 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 come on. Dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna take you into my yarn room. You can see we have, I built 2 bookshelves on either end for printed patterns and magazines and books. I did have a little bit of room right there for some yarn, and I stuck Claire right in there, some bins. I got a little bit of overflow. That's Christmas stuff. I'm going to be opening it for Advent. I got to put my yarn winder on my table over here. I still got to hang my pegboards. My pegboards are going to go right above that, and I have hooks and stuff to go in here so I can hang yarn or whatever there. That's all desk stuff. My label maker, as you can see, I did label each cubby hole I organized my yarn by name. I have a list. Most of my yarn is in Ravelry, so it's easy for me to sort it. I have a list printed out, and instead of, if I'm looking for a yarn, I know the name. For A, now I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 cubby holes. I only have to look in this area to find the yarn I'm looking for, instead of all of this yarn that I had before when I was trying to find things. As you can see, okay, so these were already in here, and these are a little bit smaller. My husband bought me these back when we moved into the house. And they were just not enough to hold all my yarn. That takes me through the letter G. H starts over in here. I have a little bit of overflow, like some of my Karen 1-pounders are down there, and some more Knit Pick stuff. But this is the letter H. You can see it goes down behind here, all the way down to there, and all the way up in here. I do have some cubby holes right there that are empty. This is some knitting needles in that bag I need to sort through, and that's some projects I want to share at Christmas. But you can see these look a little bit scarcer because I wasn't sure how many, if I would have enough. But we start over here with the letter N. My M's are kind of crazy. M's go from here all the way down to there. Like 15 of these cubby holes are set aside for M because of Madeline Tosh. This is all Madeline Tosh, Madeline Tosh, Madeline Tosh, Madeline Tosh, and Madeline Tosh. That bottom one is not. That bottom one is, I think, an L. But then I have Miss Babs. That's Miss Babs. Miss Babs. Miss Babs. That's Mary Maxim and Malabrigio. And then this is a Miss Babs. And then this one is Madeline Tosh Vintage. I still have to open some of these. I have just put them up there unopened. But hello, remember the doll that Tammy Sabo made me? Anyway, and I saved those for extra overflow. And then you can see over here, some of these don't have very many. Like I had XYZ are all together, and that's just that. U is by itself, which is that. That's a B and W. And then these are kits that I bought a long time ago. I just put them there. This is a project for itself. Yarn for a project, yarn for a project, yarn for a project. These are all like blanket projects. So I just set them off to the side so that it'd be easy to find. I bought them all together. Like that's a geometric blanket project, all that Heartland yarn. And then there's some other yarns. I think this is a kit as well from Mary Maxim, and it's got the pattern right there. So that's it. That's how it goes. And then that's just a little thing I started working on a few years ago. And that, I can't remember what this is. Oh, that's my Advent from Ruby and Roses last year. I just set that there for now. And then you can see my blocking boards I put up here. And those are just whips. Those 2 baskets are whips I need to work on. And you can see my closet is really bad, but it's mostly whips in the front because I want to take care of those. Like these are all whips, and I got stuffing, and then I got some one worsted weight yarns that I don't really use that much, but I do have projects in mind for some more blanket projects and stuff, like Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn, and some Christmas stuff. Anyway, and then over in here, these are bins with all my shawls and stuff I've made. And then again, these bags right here are all whips that I need to address. A lot of them are to be frogged, so I'm just got to work on that. And that's a project bin right there full of finished projects. And there you go. And then I did take over one other closet. You can see back in here, I did hang my little scrap thing, and then the Advent. And there's my yarn cave thing. I gotta hang the Knitting Turnpike sign over here. I've got this. I'm gonna put my little Christmas tree up there. Again, the pegboard goes above the little desk that's gonna hold my computer and light for filming. And over here, I've got a 2 cubby holes in the bottom of this coat closet. That's my giveaway yarn stuff. I just got it right there because I'm going to be getting into it a lot in December, so I just made it easy. That's all giveaway yarns that I have set aside to give away on my channel. So there we go. And that's it. That is my yarn room in a glance. Here, let me go slow so you guys can see it. I think it turned out pretty nice, and I'm so happy that I have actually that shelf was here when we moved in. I think this was a kid's room when we bought the house. So it was really cute done before And I was really thankful that the closet already had some shelving in it. You can see all my magazines and these are some of my printed patterns that I've made in the past with notes and stuff, and they all fit in those little magazine holders really nice, and kept it organized and everything. And that's really it. That's how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty nice. And I've got, you know, things people have gifted me in the past. You know, Ninja gifted me that, and Dora gifted me that doll. Carrie gifted me that little bunny, and then Tammy that, and then Tracy gave me the blanket, those beautiful doilies from Teresa, and then of course a chair. But there we go. That's it. That is my yarn room at a glance. And there you go. All my yarn is in one room except for the giveaway stuff. So as you can see, that was a really big process, long process. It took me several days to organize this, even though it was done. I did it, as I said, by name. To me, that just seemed to work the best. I know when I was always looking for yarn, I would always have to go through 3 different rooms, and it would always just be a hassle to try to find a skein of yarn that I was really looking for. Now, I use Ravelry a lot. If you guys have followed me here, you know that I use Ravelry a lot. I have probably 99% of my stash in Ravelry. I think there's some things I don't have in there, but most of it is there. And that's where I usually look in my stash in Ravelry for ideas for yarn to use for projects that I have. So I decided that would probably just be the easiest, since I'm already using that list a lot already. Let's just organize it by name. And it really is a great idea for me, because now I know if I'm going to be looking for some Amanda Hope yarn, for example, I have 4 cubby holes with the letter A, and I only have to look through that little bitty bit right now instead of 3 huge rooms of yarn and a closet with everything falling out when I was pulling it out. So for me, it is a blessing, and I'm so happy to have it looking nice again. I tell you what, it is a little bit messy right now because I'm filming, but I'll show you. I'm going to get my camera here, and I'm going to show you a little bit of it today. You'll see some of my decorations for Christmas for during the Advent opening videos, but I just thought I'll just pan around so you can see the final design. I do have some things on the floor. I have my whips to show you on the floor. So it'll be a little precarious, but let's do it. So you can see I did hang my sign, and I've got the cubby holes back there. And you can see I've got these over here. That's the street noise. That's the street right there. You can see Claire's back there in the corner. I need to pull her out. She'll probably sit over here. But I have my Christmas tree that has all the yarn on it and all the ornaments that everybody has made me over the years. Demetra, Tammy, Mary Beth, David, go forth. You know, and then I've got a few little skeins of yarn on here to, you know, can't have a yarn tree without some yarn on it. And then you can see up there, again, I got my blocking mats. I got some whips in those baskets I need to organize. But most of my yarn's all organized and to the point. Looking good, my magazines. And then you can see my magazines right there. And then you can see I've got like a box right there. That's a whip I'm going to be casting on today or this weekend. I'll be talking about that in a minute. And then I've got my little decorations here, the stuff for Advent. And I put some plastic down in case it drips. And then, of course, my other cubby holes here. You can see for the magazines. And then, of course, some of my decorations you guys have already seen in my opening videos. And then, of course, my desk right here, which I still got to raise up the legs on this. But that's where my computer's going to sit most of the time. And my little pink Christmas tree. And my little Santa. And then, of course, my closet. I got whips there in the front. And some Advent boxes I added. But this is so much better than it was, even though it probably looks like a mess to you guys. But I do have to scrap some of those whips that are right in here. Right in here. Those bags and that trash bag is also a whip. that I need to work on and fix. But anyway, there you go. That's kind of the reveal. And I don't think I showed you my pegboard. My husband hung my pegboard, and I've got some hooks on there so I can hang things as well. That is pretty much it. Using the desk to hold my camera while I film. So what do you think? Let me know if you like it, if you would have done something differently, or if you think that works. Let me know. I would love to hear from you guys and see what you think. I love it. I really love it. It's so comfy and cozy in here, and like I've said a million times already, it's just nice to see my yarn at a glance and know exactly which cubby holes I need to go to find my yarn, instead of trying to guess which room it might be in. Drinking some water. That is one thing I need to figure out. I have like a TV tray in here right now for my computer. That's going to be on my desk, but I need somewhere to put my water. I don't really have I have a cubby hole in this chair, but it doesn't fit because this is such a big glass. I guess maybe I could get a smaller glass or something. That's my yarn room. Thank you guys so much for letting me share that with you. It was so awesome to do, and my husband was so sweet to buy all these shelves and to build them for me. Really, I just appreciate that so much. I know he doesn't watch my videos, so I have to say thank you to him in person, but I really am very, very thankful and blessed he did that for me. The next thing I think we'll talk about are the mini skein projects, scrappy mini skein projects I'm planning to knit. I should have brought my scraps in here. I still have them in the other room. I have a whole bunch of mini skeins or scraps of yarn that I have collected over the years, not in addition to advent boxes. And I kind of want to stress this point to you guys, because I think you might watch some videos and might watch other creators' videos and think, I need an advent box to do all this knitting, and you really don't. You can do this with scraps. I mean, when you're knitting a project, a lot of times you don't use all of the yarn. Now, one of the shawls I'm going to be talking about, and I'll stress it, uses very small skeins of yarn, or pieces of yarn. I think the the largest section that is used is 14 grams. So, those are some scraps of yarn. Some sections you only use 7 grams of yarn. So I really think, some of these scrappy projects, you really could pull them together from things you already have, and you don't need to go out and purchase an advent box. Yes, they are awesome to get, but they are kind of expensive. And again, you can use what you already have and put it together. And then when you're knitting it, you can remember the projects you made. Maybe you gifted them to a friend or a loved one, and it will help you remember that time when you were knitting this for someone else or for yourself. It brings back good memories of knitting that project. Hopefully. Hopefully it was a good project. Let's see. Okay, let's get into the projects I'm thinking about making. Again, this is a lot, and I have my computer here to help me remember some of the notes, if you guys do not mind, because my brain doesn't work that well. I think I start on this. Yes. Okay. I went and grabbed one of my things of scraps. Now, this is what it looks like. This is all full of scraps that I have. Now, let me just show you this. I kind of wanted to show you a little bit. Like, see, I have these little bitty, these are all little scraps of yarn that I've had from different projects. And I just wind them up into a ball, and most of the time, and just, if I can label them, the weights. Sometimes I'll have the weights. They're just scraps, and you could put these all together. Like, this is a bigger scrap left over, and you can use these for all kinds of projects. Here's a couple of balls, and anyway, look at this one. This one needs to be organized, but these are all scraps. Okay, for the first project, I want to talk a little bit about Amba O'Brien. I don't know if you're familiar with her work, but you should go check her out on Ravelry. She has a ton of mini skein advent projects. She's kind of been doing this for a few years now. So every year she releases new scrappy Advent mini skein projects. This year, I think this pattern was released last year, but I really love this pattern. It's called the Venetian shawl. I love it because it utilizes only 10 mini skeins, which she's defining a mini skein as 80 yards, 20 gram mini skein, and you can finish this shawl, and it's not a big shawl. It looks like it would be something that you would probably just wear wrapped around your neck. And I don't really have a lot of those. All my shawls usually end up being big pieces of which you wrap around everywhere. So I was thinking it'd be fun to do this. And I know I'm cheating because I say I have all these scraps, but I do have this mini skein set here. It's from Loco. And you can see I haven't wound any of them, and I'm thinking about using this. This is called Slay All Day. And this is her Phyllis sock yarn, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I believe it's 460 yards for 100 grams. And I think I'm going to use this for that shawl because I really love the colors. My coat is brown, and I think it would go really nice with my coat if I'm going to use it as a winter scarf. So anyway, I just thought I would try to do that. I'm going to put that in my whip pile. So that's the first one. Let's see. It is, the wingspan is 92 inches. Depth is 16.5 inches. The total yardage you need is 870 yards. So you actually could even knit it with, if you don't want to do this, the mini skeins, you could take 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, about a little over 400 yards each, and alternate them and make your shawl that way. So take 2 colors you love together and just alternate them, and that would be really, really cute as well. So the next project I want to make is a bigger project. This is going to take longer than the month of December, but it is a blanket project, and it is a simple blanket project. It's called Cozy Comfort Throw. The pattern is written by Homespun House, which is one of the Advents I'm showing right now. I am hoping to do some modifications. I'm showing it. It is a simple striped knit blanket, and you knit on both sides, so it turns out to be garter stitch patterning, and it's a knitted striped blanket. I am thinking of maybe using Aberdeen wool yarn, which is one that was sitting right over there from last year. I really think that Advent, since it's not, the colors are not going one from the next, it could work well for a blanket and be really cute. And so I'm thinking about using that for this blanket project. And I'm also going to pair it with a yarn from Knit Picks, this fingering weight. So it's 2 fingering weight yarns paired together, which will make a DK weight yarn. This is their Knit Picks Stroll Tweed yarn. It's their Heather Tweed in Earl Grey Heather. It is 231 yards, 50 grams. I think this will kind of tone down some of the colors too and be really nice and kind of help it marl together. So I'll have this held together. It'll be a DK weight. I think you knit it with a US 8 knitting needle, and it's just mindless knitting for those times when I'm sitting in front of the TV, talking to my husband, watching a movie, watching a Christmas movie. That's the kind of knitting you don't have to think about it. You just knit the row, turn it, knit the row. Except one of the things I want to do for this blanket is I want to start it, instead of with a long tail cast on, I want to start it with an I-cord cast on, and I'll be showing that when I can. I was hoping to have that today, but doing this filming and editing, it has kind of gotten away from me. Like I forgot how much time editing takes me. So I did not get anything cast on for today yet, and I'm still waiting for another pattern to be released, but that's fine. Today we've got to, today I'm going to be working on this video. I'm also going to film the Advent for Sunday, and then my giveaway for Monday. So I'm filming these 3 videos today, and I've got to edit them all today so I can get them loaded and up to YouTube, and then I got to quality check them. And then tomorrow my husband and I will be hanging Christmas lights around our house. We're getting a little bit of a late start today, but he and I are going to work together on that. So it's not too much for one person, and so I'm probably not going to be able to start knitting till Sunday this week, and and have a few days of knitting before my next vlog. So I'm hoping I can get that cast on, but I'll show you that knitted cast on. It's an I-cord cast on, and then you have to knit the I-cord, and then you have to come back and pick up the stitches. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that part of it. It's a pretty long cast on. I won't show you all 200 and some stitches. I'll just show you a piece of it in case you're interested in doing that. And it makes a really nice finished edge. I'll do an I-cord cast off at the top and probably do an I-cord on each edge. So those are my modifications to the pattern, just to make it, again, a nice, neat, finished blanket edge. So that's my second project. My third project is something I have knitted and shown here on the Knitting Turnpike for the last 3 years. I've knitted this 4 years, so I knitted it the year before I started my channel. This is called the M-Cal Calendar Stole project by Bridget Koch. Every year, in December, she releases this pattern, and it is a combination of knitting patterns that she has created based on other similar patterns, but she creates these and makes it into the stole. And so you get a clue released to you every other day. So the first, the third, the fifth, every odd day. And on the last day, she gives you the last 2 clues so you can finish before Christmas. Again, all of these patterns I'm talking about will be in the description box below if you want to go check them out and maybe want to knit them with me. Let me know if you are going to knit them with me. I think that would be really, really fun to knit with you guys and to know that you're knitting the same thing I might be making at the same time. But the M-Cal Calendar Stole, Bridget Koch, it is lace and beads. She is using a fingering weight yarn, but you can also use a lace weight yarn. I have used lace weight yarns before when I made them. I have some that I can show you. One of them I have gifted to friends, but here is one I made a couple of years ago. It turns out to be a long rectangular pattern. As you can see, this is it. This is Manis de Uruguay Fino yarn. You can see the patterns, squares, and then you can see in between each clue there is what's called an interlude pattern. And you can see you do this beaded. You can do beaded or not beaded. If you don't want to do beaded, you don't have to do it. But you can do beaded between it. And then you also do this beaded picot cast on. You can do the cast on without the beads as well. This year I was really feeling really festive, and I did red and green beads with my gray. But that's one. Let me show you 2 more. I've got 2 more to show you. So that's one. This is one I did a few years ago. Now this is heavy lace yarn. Kind of knits like fingering, but still you can see it's a little bit lighter weight. This is Diana Dye yarns. You can see what it looks like. And I've got the beige with the beige beads. It looks a little wrinkled, sorry. It has been folded up. But you can see what that looks like. It's such a beautiful stole. And then my next one is one of my favorites. Look at the end on this. Isn't that pretty with the beaded cast off or cast on? I don't remember which end that was. All right, then the next one is last year's. And this one was my favorite because she took, this was the 5th year she designed it. And she took all these wonderful patterns. The patterns were just so awesome last year. And we did this, and I did this. This is silver yarn. It's kind of light gray, and I did these alternating pearl gray beads on the end, but you can see what it looks like. I loved this little pattern. That was so pretty. Look at that. Maybe I should hold them this way so you can see. But you get like a little rectangular stole that you can use as a winter scarf. She does give you that last she gives you that last clue, the last 2 clues together, so you can finish, I think, on the 23rd, so you can try to finish before Christmas Eve and wear it to church on Christmas Eve church, or to your family gatherings. If you're going to be going and visit your family on the 24th or 25th, you could finish up and do that. But I highly recommend knitting this. Like I said, I've knitted this the last 4 years, and I knitted a beige one. The one I gave away was pretty similar to this one in color, and just enjoy knitting this and get excited to knit this. Now the yarn I'm going to be using for this year's project, I did a winding video for that, but I probably won't put it in because I think this is probably going to be long enough without me showing you how I wind my yarn in my new knitting room. Now, when I first heard that Bridget was going to do this project, again, my first thought was red, of course. I've never knitted red. You can see I've always kind of done neutral colors. And I have this beautiful red yarn I wanted to use up. It's even a discontinued yarn. The company's not even any longer in business. So I thought that'd be perfect. But then I was like, you know what? I really want to do pink. I haven't done a pink one either. So I found this yarn in my stash. This is from Miss Babs. This is Miss Babs Tarte yarn. Tarte is their fingering weight yarn. It is 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% tencel, 500 yards, 457 meters, 4.3 ounces, 122 grams. There you go. There's the label. And I decided to use this colorway, which is called Devoted Idea. And so you can see it's like a coral pink. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to use this. You need about, I would just say go ahead and plan for 1,000 yards just to be safe. I'm a loose knitter, and she said the highest ending of her yarn range was 960, so I just rounded up to 1,000. And those are my two skeins, 1,000 yards. And then I have these beautiful beads. I always add beads, but you don't have to add beads if you don't want to. I got these beautiful beads from Aurora Crystals, and I'll show you what they look like. I'm not going to pull them all out, but you can see what they look like with the yarn. They're coral bead. They're kind of matchy, but I think it'll be really pretty. Maybe give a little bit of bling to it. So that's what I'm going to be using for the MCal Calendar Stole project. For the bead, if you are wanting to add beads, you need 228 size 6/0 seed beads. You're going to be using a US 2.5 and a US 3 knitting needles. Her range for yardage was 875 to 962 yards for the project. So anyway, I thought I'd share that if you're interested in doing that. I have all my information written here, and I was trying to do it from my brain. Should read my notes. Okay, the next project I want to try to squeeze in is a scrappy yarn project. It is written by Wool and Pine. I'm going to put some pictures over myself here. I really love the Sea Glass Tee. It's a scrappy t-shirt project. It uses fingering weight scraps on a US 4 to US 5 knitting needle. You end up with 5 to 8 inches of positive ease, so I'm probably going to end up trying to make the 41-inch size, and for that you need 260 grams of yarn. But this pattern is awesome in that it is size inclusive, and it goes up to a 68-inch bust, which is great. So it can fit all sizes of people, which is wonderful. There is also the same project that's called the Sea Glass Sweater. It's made by the same company, and which is Wool and Pine. And it just has long sleeves with a cuff on the end, and I really love it. For that one you need for the Sea Glass Sweater, you use DK weight yarn for this, so you'd probably want to hold your if you have fingering weights, hold two together and use a US 5 to US 7 knitting needles, like do a marling effect, do with 2 fingering weight yarns together to create the sweater. It has a color cuff and a waistband around the neck, and you probably would need, it looks like they used a solid color for that, for a little bit of continuity, so you may need another skein for those cuffs, and maybe it would be pretty cute to put that around the neck as well to tie it all together, and maybe even around the waist. I'm not sure what the waist looks like. I can't see it in these pictures, and I haven't looked at the pattern yet, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do the Sea Glass Sweater or the Sea Glass Tee. Let me know what you guys think I should make. I kind of want to make the tee, but my husband, when I was showing him the pictures, he's like, you need to make the sweater. But I just don't get to wear a lot of sweaters because it's really not that cold in Texas. It's only cold like December through February. So I was really thinking about the tee. But let me know what you think I should make, because I really want to make it, and I really don't have to make I think probably they're going to start out the same way. They look like the same pattern, except, well, one is fingering, one's DK. I guess I need to make a decision, but this is kind of in the background. This is going to be a longer project, like my blanket project. I just want to get them started, and probably will finish knitting them up through January, February. So it is something that's a little bit longer term project, but I want to try to get started if I can. Again, I got a lot of other things on my plate, but I like to keep busy, so I always overplan on my projects. The next thing I wanted to talk about knitting is called the Grand Opening Shawl. Now, I have already mentioned this in my Vlogmas introduction video. This is by Stephanie Lotvin. She is Telly Bee Knits. I'll link her down below. She designed the shawl for last year's Suburban Stitcher Advent, and she designed the shawl, this shawl, Grand Opening Shawl, for Suburban Stitcher Advent. And I bought Suburban Stitcher. You guys have probably already seen a couple of videos now of the yarn opening, and that yarn opening is called I'm Dreaming of a Pink Christmas. Now, if it's pink yarn and it's a shawl, you guys know I've got to make it. I wasn't going to, but when I heard, saw the pink and found out that the pattern recommended as a shawl and it has a little bit of lace in it, of course I'm in. So I'm going to work on that. This pattern is really interesting because she's going to be releasing clues every day. Now, if you don't have the Advent box, you can use your scraps of yarn. She said this was designed to look really well with different scraps of yarn. She's got all of the amounts of yarn that you need for each section down on the project page in Ravelry, and in the pattern. The first one only uses 9 yards of yarn, and I think the longest, let's see what the largest one is here, 89 yards is the most you will need of one color. So it really is a great scrappy project. You're going to get a clue every day from December 1st to December 24th. And let me just show you, this is what it looks like. It's black. This is black and white because the colors are, still being revealed for the Advent. But isn't that pretty? Can you see the, and I'll put some more pictures, probably better pictures than me holding up a piece of paper. And I wanted to show you in the pattern, there is a design. You could put, well, she's talking about what's going to happen every day, is how it's being built. Like you can see there, how it's all going to come together. In this pattern, which I did not print, there is a diagram that she gives you, and it has the sections broken out by the 24 days, the 24 clues. And you can take that and you can color it based on what color the scraps are you're going to be using. So you can order it and kind of see. You can even do it digitally if you don't want to, do it coloring. And that way you can play around with it and reorder your yarns and see what you think it's going to be looking like. Take this color. Say you're going to use this scrap here first, which is pink, and then this one brown, or you can switch them around, which is really great for helping you figure out which order you want to put your scraps in. So I thought that was really, really helpful, and I love that. The pattern is US $8, and I think that's a really good buy for all the stuff you're going to get. You're going to get 24 days of clues and fun, and she has a chat going on in her Ravelry group about it. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to knitting it. The total yardage on this shawl is 1,011 yards. The measurements of it block 70 inches across by 29.5 depth. So I'm excited using a US 4 knitting needle. Okay, so some other scrappy projects that I really want to make are I have been considering doing Amber O'Brien's Go-Go Throw. I really kind of sat on the fence about should I do a cozy knit blanket pattern or just do the Go-Go Throw by Amber O'Brien, because it's really, really pretty. You need one main color to use. It has a border after you knit a colored, and the colors are knit in a eyelet lace section. So pretty. I definitely want to make this project, but I probably will be on the back burner if I can fit it in. But I'm thinking of using the Advent that I bought last year from Ruby and Roses for this project. I think it would be really pretty. I haven't decided what the main color should be. Let me know what you guys think the main color should be. It's the one that makes a zigzag in between the other colors, each individual color. So that would be a lot of fun. I don't know. I definitely want to make it. I just hope I can squeeze it in. The next project I want to try to knit is another shawl. This is the Sugar Plum Fairy Advent Shawl by Crystal T Knits. It's just so cute and got such, uses the, got some lace in there. It's got like a little frilly edge, and it's got, you know, it's a good use of your scraps. It is made with fingering weight yarn, uses US 5 knitting needles. The total yardage of the yarn that you need is about 938 yards, which are 858 meters. It utilizes 24 20-gram minis, but it doesn't use all of the 20 grams, so 24 scraps of yarn. The list of how many grams used per section is on the project page down at the bottom. The largest section uses 15 grams. So as long as you can take your scraps, and if you got a bigger scrap, you could use that for the 15-gram section. And if you got a smaller amount, you could use it for the smaller sections, as long as you think it looks good. Now, I'm considering for this one, since the yardage is 938, I'm considering using Swoon Fibers mini skeins. Those were 10, I opened those 2 years ago during my 12 Days of Knitmas live shows. They were 10-gram mini skeins, and I'll probably, on some of the sections, I might have to take, like the ones that have 14 or need 14 or 15 grams, I'll probably have to use a different color for that. But I'm fine with that, you know, and try to utilize some of these up in that, I think that's what I'm going to do. And I hope I'll try to show a picture of that Advent to remind you guys what it looks like. All right, that's the Sugar Plum Fairy Advent Shawl. I love the name. All right, the other projects that are not scrappy projects that I kind of want to work in, I want to work in another Slip Stravaganza, which is a shawl pattern by Stephen West. The first time I knitted it a few years ago, 3 years ago, back when I first started my channel, I gave that shawl to a friend of mine, and ever since I was finished it, I wanted to make one for myself. I have a beautiful set of yarns I bought from Amanda Hope that I hope to knit with this. So if I can squeeze it in, I really want to make a second one. And speaking of Stephen West, I really loved his Aurora Cabin shawl, and I want to make a second one of that one as well. And I have a beautiful set of yarns that I actually bought from Stephen and Penelope, his store in Amsterdam. And this is a set of yarns from Life in the Long Grass. They're single skeins, which is a single ply fingering weight yarn in 5 different colors, and I just love the neutral look of this. I think it'd be really pretty. That was a really fun shawl to knit, and I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more here in a minute. I was thinking about making some socks with my Freckle Twinsy Advent, my Advent yarn. I was thinking of doing vanilla socks. I really don't want to do vanilla socks. I was talking with Melissa of the Purling Through Life podcast, and she kind of mentioned Crystal T Knits, who is doing the Advent shawl, the Sugar Fairy Advent shawl as well, that she has some Sophia socks that are really cute with striping yarn and has a little bit of patterning on the front, and I was looking at that. So I may do Sophia socks or just vanilla socks with this Advent yarn. I haven't decided yet, but I do want to try to do some socks as well. That's another project I want to add in. I know, crazy, crazy, crazy. I think those are all the projects I want to try to knit. I know, that is way too much. There is no way I'm going to have time to knit all this. There is just no way. I already know that. I'm not going to be heartbroken. I'm just going to give it my best shot. I've talked to you about the projects I want to make for this month of December, and it's going to carry over into a few other months throughout the winter for January and February. Now I want to talk to you about some projects that I started back when I was making videos, and I never got to share the finished projects with you guys. So I want to share these real quick. Couple of them, you guys saw me knit through Clue 4, the Rami Hill shawl, mystery shawl for this year called Falderall, and I did not get to share with you the 5th clue. Now this first shawl, I'm just going to show you the finished shawl. This shawl was knit with Miss Babs Avon yarn, which is It's a light fingering weight yarn. It is 85% merino, 15% bombex, and it is 490 yards per 100 grams. So it is a pretty light fingering weight, and it is really soft and silky. Now this is how the last clue came or turned out, and you can see it's really just mostly what you haven't seen is this lacy edge. You can see the beautiful patterning on that. Look at that. That's how it turned out, and I just love triangular shawls. I think that's my favorite shape. I just think it turned out really pretty. And you can see that's a super hot pink with a more muted pink. And that's Falderal. Pattern is by Rami Hill. I will link it down below. That's the first shawl that I knitted that you guys didn't get to see the finished result. And I knitted a second shawl in that same pattern. I knitted two at the same time. If you remember, I know it was back in May. All right, this is the second shawl I made for Falderal. This is the dark and speckled one. The gray yarn is from House of a la Mode. It's their house fingering yarn, and the color is called Gaga, and it's a speckled yarn actually. It's kind of hard to see, but it has some speckles in there. I was worried it might compete with the lace, but I think once I blocked it, it turned out really nice. And then this dark green yarn is from Madeline Tosh, Jimmy Beam Wool, their Madeline Tosh line, and that is their Tosh Merino Light plus Tweed. And I love this color. It's called Cousteau. You can see again I think those colors worked really well together. And I love this shawl. You can see the lace edging. That's what guys did not get to see. And of course this is blocked. I always try to block my shawls right away, otherwise they'll just sit. But this is what it looks like, all finished. So that's my second Falderal. I finished both of those in May, and just didn't get a chance to share them with you. I'll link my project page for these projects down below. If you're interested in checking them out, a little bit more about them, I believe I have some notes on there. And then, of course, the yarns are all there. And you can, I'm sure I have weights and stuff of things when I knitted it. And then, of course, I have videos also for those two shawls as well. The first 4 clues I shared with you guys in videos here on the Knitting Turnpike. The next project I want to share with you is another Rami Hill pattern. Now I knitted this before. This was a 2019 Mystery Shawl Knit Along. I knitted it in these same colors actually. This is a yarn from Loco. It's her opal sock yarn, which is 50% superwash merino, 50% silk. It's a 50-50 blend. Really soft and silky. I gave that shawl to a fundraiser, and it was won by somebody, and I was missing it. I love this design. So I decided to make another one. This is called April Song. And I used this pink color is called Peony, and the other color is called Corrode. I think the gray is actually Life in the Long Grass. Let me pull the center up so you can see it a little bit better. It's really pretty. What I really love about the shawl is this section right here. If you can see it, it's got this zigzag lace. I thought it was so cool. It was so fun to knit and so pretty. And here's the rest of it. It has a beautiful lace edging. And anyway, this is Rami Hill, April Song. Let me show you this. I hope you can see it behind me, or with me behind it. It's a nice big shawl to wrap up in. So that's April Song. I may have showed you some of it. I think I showed you some of it when I was knitting the Falderal, but this is April Song. So I finally finished that. Now there's one more project I want to share with you. This I just knitted in October. I was knitting this to try to get myself back into the groove of knitting, since I had been off for about 6 months. Or maybe 5 months. I'm not doing the math in my head. This is the Stephen West Mystery Shawl Knit Along that he did this year, Geo Gradient. I did knit it. I did not talk about it here on my channel because I was still trying to get back into thinking about doing videos again. But I did it, and if you follow that, it was a little bit of a controversy this year. Clue 1 was released, and it some people saw a hate symbol. I'll just go ahead and say it, the swastika, and there was a lot of controversy about it. I really loved the first Clue, and I did not see that symbol, but my husband did, so he kind of pointed it out to me, and then after I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So what happened after he released that Clue is, like, for 4 days in the thread that he does for his mystery knit-alongs, there was all kinds of modifications. People knitted up the design sheet, and so you could take it and put your colors in and change it up and change it to look something that would not resemble a hate symbol. And I thought that was so much fun. There was so much creativity going on around it. It was amazing. I was just like, no two shawls are going to look the same because everybody was doing this, and some people were doing this. It was a lot of different ideas going on. And there was some lady in there called the Bond. You can see that all the information on my project page. I'll link that down below. But she presented a color pop idea, and I really fell in love with it. And it kind of just makes the pinwheel section pop out without any of the other additional lines that created that hate symbol that looked a little bit like that. So that's what I knitted. Now, after I started knitting this, he decided to remove anything associated with Clue 1, the even if it is modified, from his Ravelry group. And at that point, I'd already started over twice, and so I was like, and when you did this, you had to cut your yarn every new color change. And I was just like, nope, I'm not going to rip it out. I don't think my shawl looks like a hate symbol. So I'm just going to keep going on. And just to make the long story short, I got so much hate. I did make a comment under one of his posts in Instagram saying he ended up removing everything from his group that resembled even if it was a modification of Clue 1 and did not look anything like the symbol. He took it down, he removed it, and it really hurt a lot of people's feelings because they had worked hard for days to modify the Clue so that it did not look like a hate symbol. And also they're longtime fans, and they were there, and this was the second time we all had started. And so anyway, I just kept on with my modified Clue 1. I'm going to show you it in a minute. I'm kind of telling you the story so you can kind of judge for yourself. And I decided to do that, and I said I really didn't think you should take down all of the pictures of the modified Clue 1 from your Ravelry group because you're excluding a whole group of us that are fans of yours. And I got so much backlash. I mean, that's all I really said. It was just, a viewpoint. And I got hate mail. I got called all kinds of names, all kinds of hateful names. I won't even say them, but it really hurt my feelings. And after this was supposed to get me back into knitting again, and I was having a really hard time, like, do I even want to finish this? I'd done Clue 1, starting with Clue 2, getting all this hate, and I got hate mail in Ravelry. I got hate mail in Instagram. I was even scared to post my pictures on Instagram. I finally did post them at the very end of the project because it had died down a lot by then. But it was very hurtful and very eye-opening that there's a lot of people in this world who talk about how bad hate is, but then they're very hateful to you themselves. It's like they're talking about this was oppression at its best. And yes, I totally agree with them about it, but then they're spreading hate and bullying you and trying to get you. I had some people say that I was lazy because I just wouldn't work a little bit harder and modify my Clue. And I'm like, no, I'm not lazy. I just want to continue on with this because I like this better. He started with a radiating squares, which is fine. And some people were doing crochet squares. I just liked this design better, and I wanted to continue with it. But I had people tell me I was lazy because I wouldn't just shift a little bit more and change just a little bit more, and you know, make all kinds of assumptions and call me names and stuff, and it was hurtful. It was really hurtful. But anyway, I just wanted to share all that. This was a hard shawl to knit. Now for this shawl, you needed 4 colors, a gradient of 4 colors. I ended up using a gradient kit that was 5 colors, and I just removed 1 color because they were kind of close in color. This was a kit I bought from Loco. It is a fingering weight sock yarn. No, spun sock. That's it. It is got some silk in it, and 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. It is 400 yards, 100 grams. And this was a kit that Andrea Mowry, she worked with Loco to design it, and I was able to purchase it. And I just love it. I think it knitted up really pretty. It's pinks and grays, which are 2 of my favorite colors together. And I'm going to show you that in a second. And then for the color, the pattern I picked had a color pop in it. So I ended up using Jimmy Bean Wool's Madeline Tosh Merino Light Line. I had this in my stash. I used the color Rosinate, which was it's a coral pink color for my color pop. So this is what my shawl ended up looking like, and I ended up modifying it a bit. So I'm just going to show you it, and then I'll tell you what I did to modify it. This is my finished shawl. I ended up making it extra big. You see, this thing is huge. So what I did was, you can see in the center, I made the pinwheel design, and I put that color pop in these 4 sections so that those lines would go away, and I feel like it looks just like a really beautiful pinwheel. And I didn't really want to go with the radian squares because I really liked this. And so what I did was, because I had the color pop on the clue 2, which are these sections right here, I brought that color pop in again to kind of bring some continuity to it. I have it over here and on this side for this color 2. But you can see my colors are a nice little fade. It's like a white, a pink, a light gray, and a dark gray. And you can kind of see how they go. And then this section was really fun. This was a slip stitch section. It looks like cables, but all it is the yarn floats that created these little beautiful slip stitches and right there. And then I did bring in my color pop on the edge here. I put it right in the middle for some more fun. And then on the same thing on the other side, like that. And you're cutting, you had to cut the yarn every time you did a color change. There were so many ends to weave in. You can kind of see some of those. I weaved in as I went and then cut, and there was so much of that. Tried to do as much as you could when you went along, so you didn't have all that to do at the end. Now the 4th clue was this dip section. This part right here, really beautiful. You could make it really long. You could double it up. His was only this long. And then he finished his shawl. It looked like that. And it was just shawl just finished. And I felt like I wanted to put a flouncy end on mine. See, I put my color pop right there in that. I eliminated the white to start with, and I ended with the white. But then right here is where I made the biggest modification, was this border right here. This was not on the original design. I took this border from his Aurora cabin shawl pattern and I added it. And what I had to do was, with the stitch count, it's a modification of 8 stitches. I had to knit 2 additional rows to get the stitch count just right, and then it worked out just right with an 8 stitch modification pattern repeat. And I think it looks really good. I repeated it 3 times to make it extra long, the gradient 3 times, the white, pink, light gray, dark pink. You can see there. And then I bound off with an I-cord bind off using my pop of color, that Rosinate. And I'm going to stand up and hold it back so you can see. But I think it looks really pretty and I love it. And my shawl doesn't look like anybody else's, but that's okay. It's mine. And this thing is huge, as you can see. Look how much it can wrap around you. It's like so big. It's like 90 inches across the top. It is really, really huge. And I'm glad I extended the bottom. See, if I had done where he said, well, it would have been long enough. It would have ended like right here. But this just covers my bum a little bit better. You know what I mean? So anyway, I just thought that was really cool. And that's the last project I have to show you today. I have 2 other projects I did finish back in May to share with you, but I will save those to next week. And that way you'll have a couple of finished projects to look at in my next vlog. I do want to mention a couple more things before I let you go. And I know this is very long, and I appreciate you spending time with me to sit through all this. And I hope that you found something interesting. Please, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put comments below. All right. The last thing I want to kind of follow up on is just, there's so much to do this time of year in the knitting community, crochet community. I want to highlight a few of them just because all you really have to do is go out there and type Advent or mini Skein projects, and you'll find them. But a few fun things I found that I would share with you. The next one is something I featured on my channel last couple years around Christmas time. It's the Amigurumi Advent 2023. This is a crochet project. It is done by Ilaria Cagliari and Irene Strange, and they do 24 crochet patterns every day until Christmas Day. This year they usually have a theme, and this year the theme is on furry friends with cozy cuddles, cute accessories, and a bit of mischief. And I thought it was really cute. The bonus pattern was a cozy house pattern. Now, I'm not going to be able to participate in this, but I did buy the pattern, and one of these days I am going to knit all these cute little itty-bitty projects because I really love them, and I want to have a whole bunch of them. I just think they're so cute and so fun, and I could put them all on my tree. It'd be fun. The last thing is there are so many knit-alongs, patterns and Ravelry. Enter Advent 2023. Look at all the options. Imagine landscapes. She does the knitted gnomes, and I think crochet too. She has doing Snow Matters What, and that has already started. I think it starts today, December 1st, and that's another one you could do as well. And after Christmas, of course, I've already mentioned this, Stephen West is doing his Hybrid Knit Along 4. He has shawls and blankets. He has a beautiful blanket pattern in that offering, but his shawl is called the Glittering Snowscape Shawl. You can make along. It's a make along. You already can see what the design looks like. I'll be putting some pictures here while I'm talking about it. But it's a 5 skein fade set of fingering weight yarns that you need. And the whole grouping of Hybrid Knit Along has 8 total patterns. A blanket, which is the Hymansvik blanket, a cat, a cow, a cat hat, a cow, mittens, a treasure trove sweater with a drop yoke and those dips like I just showed on the Geo Gradient. And that's just really, the make along will be the shawl pattern, which is the Glittering Snowscapes. And that'll start on December the 26th, the day after Christmas, the make along in his knitting group. I'm not going to be knitting that this year, but I hope if you are, you'll have fun. The border looks a lot like this shawlography border, that knitted on border, but it's done in a single color instead of in shawlography. We did all the individual colors that we had in the pattern. So it looks really beautiful, and it's different. It's kind of color block sections of different knitting patterns. So it's pretty. The next item I want to mention is another one that starts the day after Christmas. This is Nomadic Knits 12 Days of Knitmas. I've mentioned this before. The pattern is free right now in Ravelry. I'll link it down below. Go grab it while you can. Even if you can't knit it, just grab the pattern for free and you can knit it later. This year they're making a cow, and it looks like it's made with some scraps or mini skeins of yarn with a main color. I don't have the breakdown of the yardage. The total yardage you need is 500 to 700 yards. It's a Mobius cow full of textured motifs. And again, it starts December the 26th and goes for 12 days. And it should be lots of fun. I knitted that the first year they did it, and I actually won a prize. They do give prizes throughout the whole process. I won one of their magazines. They're known for making geographical magazines of knitting patterns and crochet patterns that should be perfect for different geographical regions that they're featuring. I did win one once, and they're beautiful, and this should be a lot of fun. They have a Facebook group, a Ravelry group for you to connect with other people doing that. So that is, I think, enough for today. Thank you guys so much for staying with me through the vlog 1 of Vlogmas 2023. I hope you've learn something that maybe will inspire you, or maybe you want to knit, or if you are knitting along with me on a project, let me know. Or please just let me know what you're working on right now. I would love to hear that. This isn't all about me. I love when I share my projects. I love for you guys to put what you're currently working on down in the comments below. This is a share community, and I think it will be really interesting. I find it interesting, and I love knowing what you guys are currently making and working on and doing for your crafting time. I think that's all I have today. Thank you guys so much again for spending time with me, and I just wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you all so very, very soon. Please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.